shifting back?
I think it's a lot better than it was a few years ago because there was Dynamite. You didn't have Collision. So, it's been something new for us growing into doing a new show and having now 4 hours of AEW. And when we first started, we were just doing 2 hours of Dynamite, and that was fantastic. And I think we've been able to try to hit that same consistency. And really, I think Dynamite's a better show now than it's ever been.
Joining me today is a man who wears many hats. He's an executive for Fulham FC and the Jacksonville Jaguars, but he is also, and we're going to speak about this, the co-founder, co-owner, president, CEO, executive producer, and head booker of All Elite Wrestling, the one and only Mr. Tony Khan. Tony, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Jace. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here. You're coming off a successful Grand Slam Mexico at Arena Mexico, AEW's debut in Mexico, historic arena. Can you talk about the importance of a successful show in that market and branching out to these international markets?
Absolutely. That was a fantastic show, and it was huge for us for many reasons. It was just a great, fun event. The fans had a great time, and it did very, very well on television. It was the most watched episode of AEW since last year, and that was before the simulcast. So, based on our TBS data, this was the most watched AEW show on cable in nearly a year. And in a lot of the key demographics, most watched AEW show in over a year. And when you factor in the streaming viewership, I think this was the most watched AEW program in a long time, long over a year, maybe years. And it's one of our best shows ever, one of our best received shows ever. We went into a new market working with great partners, the first AEW show we've ever done in Mexico. And it was a great event. The wrestling was awesome. The partnership is awesome. And there's definitely a possibility, I think, of doing this again. It's almost a virtual certainty. We're going to have a return to Mexico. We've got a great relationship with CMLL. They own and operate this cathedral of pro wrestling, which is Arena Mexico. And we had a fantastic event in Arena Mexico. It meant so much to so many of the wrestlers to go there because myself and so many of the AEW stars, we're big fans of Lucha Libre. And the preeminent arena in Lucha is absolutely Arena Mexico. It's one of the greatest buildings, one of the greatest venues in all of pro wrestling. And it made a great home for AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday. It was a fantastic, fantastic event. And I can't wait to go back for another Grand Slam Mexico and hopefully many great events to come under the umbrella of CMLL working with AEW.
Yeah, and I think as a viewer and a fan, something felt different about the show. I think the presentation, the stage, the setup, it was Dynamite, but it felt kind of like a pay-per-view.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw a great line on Twitter that it felt like watching a show taking place within the universe of another show. I think I saw a tweet, and I'm really sorry. I will misattribute this surely if I try and attribute it to a person. But I saw somebody say it was a great show, and it was akin to watching an episode of Night Court taking place in the Cheers bar. And I thought that was a great, great reference. But yeah, it was AEW, but taking place in this iconic venue that we always associate with CMLL. We've never seen an American wrestling promotion go to Mexico and work with CMLL and be invited to run a show, let alone a major TV show, an AEW Dynamite, and a Grand Slam event out of Arena Mexico. It was a huge success, and I'm very excited to go do it again.
You talked about CMLL and that American audience. One of the build-up storylines before Grand Slam was MJF pointing out that Mystico was Sin Cara and that American audience might not have been familiar with the magnitude of what Mystico was to that Mexican audience. How important was it for you to showcase how big of a deal he is to that CMLL audience?
It was very important. And We've featured Mystico in AEW in the past. He's on a fantastic run in AEW. He has a spotless record here, and he's one of the most beloved stars in Mexico and a top international wrestler. He does have experience here in America. In fact, I was actually at the first ever Sin Cara match. It was in my hometown, Champaign, Illinois. And I had been a fan of Mystico for many, many years at that point. And now I've been a fan of Mystico for well over 20 years since I was in college. And he's just a great man. He's a great star in this sport. He's an iconic athlete. And it was so incredible to see Arena Mexico get behind him on his entrance. Wherever we go, there are fans that know Mystico that are excited to see him. We had a great video package a few weeks ago for those people who weren't familiar with Mystico, getting them caught up. We've had some videos, and of course, Mystico's made a lot of appearances here in advance of Grand Slam Mexico, but I don't think anything prepared the fans and any of us, frankly, for the kind of reaction he was going to get when we went to Arena Mexico, when we played that classic entrance theme when he came out. And what a great match, Mystico versus MJF. They had an absolutely fantastic encounter, and it left meat on the bone. I think we could absolutely see a rematch down the line at some point. I hope so. And CMLL, I know, would love to do that. I think Mystico wants another piece of MJF too, and that would be great for the fans.
It sounds like the fans want a piece of MJF too.
Yeah, definitely. The Mexican fans would love a piece of MJF. He was very fortunate to make it out in one piece, but absolutely, it's a great partnership working with CMLL and their athletes. And this event was a grand slam in many ways for AEW, and just an absolutely fantastic showcase for the AEW wrestlers and the CMLL wrestlers in the home of CMLL and this iconic Lucha Libre venue.
All In Texas is coming up this next month, July 12th at Globe Life Stadium or Globe Life Field in Arlington. Talk about that. It's your biggest show of the year. We're wrestling fans here, but sell me on All In as if I had no experience, just casually knew pro wrestling, wasn't familiar with the AEW brand.
AEW All In coming up July 12th, just weeks away. It's the biggest AEW event ever in America, and it's a can't-miss show. AEW always delivers on pay-per-view, and this is unique because this is the biggest stage AEW's ever attempted in America. We've been doing shows for over 6 years. We have an incredible track record of delivering on these pay-per-views. We bat the highest average, I think, of anybody when it comes to putting on major events. You can always count on an AEW pay-per-view having great matches and having absolutely great rivalries and a great time for the fans. This is going to be a great environment too. It's very unique. So I think if you can't make it to Globe Life Field in Texas, hopefully you could be there live. It's so fun to experience these shows live. As you saw at Grand Slam Mexico, the fans were having a great time, and that was a unique environment. This is going to be something unique. We've never tried to run a major stadium like this, and it's poised to be the biggest AEW crowd in America ever. It's already one of the top 3 gates in the history of the company, and it's going to be surely one of the greatest events. We've got major matches, major championship fights with huge implications. I'm really excited about Hangman Page challenging the AEW World Champion Jon Moxley for the title. I'm so excited about AEW Women's World Champion Timeless Toni Storm defending the world title against the TBS champion and the Owen Hart Foundation tournament winner, the undefeated Mercedes Moné. And that is just going to be an absolutely fantastic match, a match that is truly years in the making. And so excited for the unified AEW championship match, the AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada taking on his greatest rival in one of the greatest rivalries of all time, to me in sports, but certainly in the history of pro wrestling. And that is the AEW International Champion Kenny Omega And Okada Omega, their matches have been classic. The rivalry is classic. It's something we've never, ever seen before in AEW, something we've been looking forward to for years. I can't wait for that. And I know that with the AEW fans clamoring for that match, it's certainly set the stakes to make this feel like not only the biggest AEW live event ever in America, but I also think the biggest AEW pay-per-view ever in America. And we've also announced men's and women's casino gauntlet matches coming up. It's great format. It's the most exciting new match in pro wrestling in many years. And the winner of each the men's and the women's casino gauntlet match will earn a future world title shot. And given the size, the stage, the implications of this show, I think this is our biggest show in America ever. And I'm so excited for this event. It is also the first pay-per-view we've ever done in the state of Texas. And the Texas fans are absolutely rabid. They make for great shows. I think we were just talking about Arena Mexico and Grand Slam Mexico. Certainly the environment was unmatched, and the engagement with the fans and the passion of the fans in Arena Mexico was unbelievable. And when we do pay-per-views in Texas, one of the real features that I've been looking forward to is bringing that audience we get, because it's our first ever pay-per-view in Texas. I've always wanted to have that energy from the Texas TV crowds and see what it's like at a pay-per-view. And when we do TV, they're some of the best fans, and I really believe they're going to bring the energy, and this is going to be a great show. July 12th, Saturday afternoon, AEW All In. It's an earlier start time than usual, as we've done with All In the past few years, as an afternoon show here in America, and I think it's going to be a great event.
You mentioned the confirmation that both the men's and women's casino gauntlets were going to be on the card. Every year when you guys put those matches on, there's these big surprise entrants and stuff like that. The comments made by Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay about bringing in free agents who just want to be AEW stars and want that mentality that AEW is the team to play for. Are you sharing that mentality? Like maybe you're approaching free agency differently? Because there's a lot of people out there that have become recent free agents and have name dropped your company, and maybe there's a little bit of a perception change.
Well, there's a very good perception about AEW in 2025. This company's doing great shows. This feels like the best year ever in AEW. There was a major change at the start of the year that definitely created a fresh, exciting environment that is the simulcast. Every Wednesday, we do wrestling on TBS. Every Saturday night, we do wrestling on TNT. And it's absolutely fantastic to have AEW Dynamite every Wednesday night, AEW Collision every Saturday, and having these great partnerships with TBS and TNT. But now we've got the simulcast, which has opened up a whole new audience. It's allowed us to reach people that didn't necessarily have access to TBS on Wednesdays or TNT on Saturdays. And having those events live on Max streaming as they're on TBS and TNT, it's grown the audience, and the shows have just been fantastic this year. And I think the combination of really great events, maybe the most consistent run we've ever had of TV and pay-per-views, which is saying something because we've had so many great runs of television, and I think the best track record of all on pay-per-view over the years. So it really is set a high bar for all of us here at AEW. And I think with that high bar, the fact that we've cleared it, and this is in so many ways the best year of AEW yet, I think it speaks really highly to the wrestlers, the staff of AEW, and certainly the fans and how they've been delivering at the live shows and the kind of growth we've seen on TV. At the end of the year, there were so many positive things about AEW. We were so excited about 2025, but we've been able to grow our TV audience as we've also started simulcasting. So in addition to having our biggest TV audience in a very long time this past week, this whole year has been a huge uptick for AEW on TV. And then when you factor in the additional fans watching on streaming on the simulcast, it's just going fantastic for us. So there is a great perception about AEW. It's a great time to work here. It's also a lot of fun. It's a fun place to work. It's a great place to ply your trade as a wrestler. And we're looking for the very best. This is where the best wrestle. AEW has the best wrestlers in the world, and we want to keep it that way. So absolutely, it's a very, very high bar to reach this roster, and I think we want to maintain the quality.
Yeah, Tony, honestly, I was going to ask you, like, because you guys have used that statement, restore the feeling, because you guys did come in with a lot of momentum of, the goodwill of being different, being an alternative and all that. And I feel like, the internet's cynical. There's tribalist fans. They say a lot of nonsense online. And I feel like this year there has been a change where a lot of people are like, Dynamite's been consistently great. This week's Dynamite's been awesome. It's been this amount of time. And I feel like a lot of that positivity came out after your Double or Nothing press conference.
I think it's been a lot longer than that, Jace.
For sure.
I think Collision's been consistently great all year too. I think Dynamite and Collision have both been consistently great. Yeah. Every Wednesday and Saturday. I agree with that the Double or Nothing press conference was very well received. I really appreciate you saying that. I do think this goes back to even January.
For sure.
And Grand Slam Australia was a huge success in February. I think that was one of our best TV events ever, and I do think that's probably the best episode ever of Collision. Grand Slam Australia in February. Revolution in March was an excellent pay-per-view. We had a great Dynasty in April. We also had a really important event, AEW Spring Breakthrough, which is considered one of the best episodes ever of AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. Also, really an important milestone. It's where AEW became the longest running primetime pro wrestling show in the history of Turner Sports. And I completely agree with you. I think, Double or Nothing was possibly the best pay-per-view show we've ever done.
For sure.
And by the time we got to May, this momentum has been rolling and rolling. The perception keeps getting better and better. So I do agree with you. I think this started earlier. And I appreciate what you're saying because No,
that's what I'm saying too. I'm saying I think you guys have been on momentum, and I think people, even the most cynical, who are just they live for negativity online, are starting to say, it is getting to be like what it was a few years ago. And I do see that there's been a change where it's like I think a lot of momentum shifting back.
I think it's a lot better than it was a few years ago because there was Dynamite, you didn't have Collision, so. It's been something new for us growing into doing a new show and having now 4 hours of AEW. And when we first started, we were just doing 2 hours of Dynamite, and that was fantastic. And I think we've been able to try to hit that same consistency. And really, I think Dynamite's a better show now than it's ever been. And Collision, I think, is a better show now than it's ever been, too. And consistently throughout 2025, both shows have been really strong. I think for many years, when we started up, we had great pay-per-views and we had 2 great hours of TV every Wednesday night. And now we're delivering something very different, twice as much TV every week. It's a hard thing to do, and it's something that this year in 2025, I think we've done a great job on. So I actually think it's better than it's ever been, to your point. That's why we haven't used that expression, restore the feeling, in a long time. I think it's been that way for a long time. And I completely agree with you. I really do think you're onto something too, because I think there was already a really good vibe and a really good perception of what we've been doing this year. And I think Double or Nothing, the quality of the event opened people's eyes, the success of the pay-per-view, and the aftermath. I think you're right. A lot of the comments were well received, but the most important thing was the wrestling show, and the wrestlers did so well, and the fans that night in Phoenix were fantastic. And Anarchy in the Arena was an amazing match. Hangman Page and Will Ospreay had an absolutely fantastic match. Mercedes Moné and Jamie Hayter was great. Just top to bottom, a really fantastic show. And when you look at Double or Nothing, it's the original AEW event. It's where we set the standard from the very beginning, from our first show. I think it's a really great debut event that we had in 2019. And we've tried to go back, and over the years, we've had some great Double or Nothing shows. I really thought this was the best one yet. So I do think, Jason, you're really onto something that definitely helped people identify, pinpoint what's been going on here, that we're having a great year. And we all take a lot of pride in it. And that's why, looking back, I think this is something unprecedented, even better than we've done before, because we've had great runs, we've had consistent runs, but we're doing something new now and giving the fans something new with Wednesday night Dynamite, Saturday night Collision, and all of it being simulcast and available to a wider audience. Not only people that may have never had access to TBS and TNT, but even people over the last 6 years that might have not kept their cable, people that have become cord cutters and are active on streaming that no longer have TBS and TNT, people that might have watched AEW in the past. What's incredible is as we've added that streaming audience, looking just to the cable audience has grown too against all expectations. So that's been really great. And I really appreciate what you're saying. Thank you.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
It means a lot.
For sure. Switching gears real quickly, how's Trevor Lawrence coming along?
Doing great. Trevor Lawrence doing great. Liam Cohen is a great coach. We're really fortunate to have the great staff that Liam's put together. And Trevor Lawrence has a really talented group of players around him. And I'm really excited for the 2025 Jaguars. It should be a great year. And with the new staff, the energy they're bringing, and a young roster with some new players on it that we're really excited about, I think 2025 should be a great year. And Trevor personally is doing really well.
If I just knew Jean-Claude Van Damme casually and hadn't watched any of his movies, where do I start?
I
knew you'd like that one because I saw you and Brandon Walker do it, so I figured I'd throw that one in.
It's a different one. Jean-Claude Van Damme is a great actor, and he's had some classic films. His most commercially successful film is Time Cop, so it's a great place to start. It also represents what we do with AEW TV tapings, because a lot of times if we tape a show, most of the shows are live. Every Dynamite is live every Wednesday. But every once in a while, if we do tape a show, the fans can be in two places at once. They can be in the arena at the show and watching it at home. It's a lot like one of my favorite movies, Time Cop. And in that film, Jean-Claude Van Damme plays a cop who travels through time and maintains the continuity of the timeline. Street Fighter is another great Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. I think that's probably his second most commercially successful movie. Based on the video game Street Fighter. It's a really fun video game film. It's the last performance of the late, great Raul Julia Gomez Adams from the Addams Family when we were kids. And I am a fan of that one as well. I think that's excellent. Lionheart is a great Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Nowhere to Run is really good. But I think one of my favorites is Universal Soldier, which is fantastic. It's a franchise of films, but the first one is the best one, I think. And that's a crash course on JCVD.
All In Texas at Globe Life Field on July 12th. All Elite Wrestling founder, co-founder, co-owner, president, CEO, head booker, Tony Khan. Thank you for taking the time.
Hey, thank you for taking the time. It was really fun to talk to you about it. And especially somebody with so much knowledge of AEW and so much knowledge of wrestling. I really enjoyed the interview. Thanks for doing this, Jason.
Enjoyed having you, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.